How's my head? Is it in frame? I don't know, but here we go. Alright. Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm actually going to be going over with you how I wash my vehicles. And hopefully it gives you some insight and some direction as to how to wash your vehicles. Most people do it wrong. Well, most people do it and end up damaging the paint over time. So I'm going to show you how to not do that. So we're just going to get right into it. So the things you will need are, you will need a brush for your tires. You will need a brush for your rims, exhaust pipes, whatever. You will need a nice, fluffy, cleaning thingamajig for your for the car itself. This is optional. This is just tire shine, which you put on afterwards. This is your soap. Now, what you want to do is you want to be able to use a good, high-quality soap because it's going to have the high-quality materials in it. This particular one is a Labor's low-class car wash shampoo and conditioner. So it washes and conditions in one step, so you don't have to apply anything else. This particular one does not have wax in it specifically for, like, you know, waxing the car. Some of the good ones have that. I don't have any of that because I like to do all my own detail work after the fact. And you will need 2 buckets. Most people get it wrong and only use 1 bucket. And the problem with that is that what you end up doing is you contaminate your 1 bucket with all of that dirt and grit and all that stuff that just came off your car. And it goes back into this water, and then you dip this back in the water and smack it on your car again, and you're grinding all that dirt into your paint. So we're going to go over how not to do that. And of course, you'll need a good sprayer. I got this good spray wand right here. It's got a lot of different settings, plenty of pressure. You don't want to use too much pressure on your paint because it can damage it. But we'll get into the setup, of washing your vehicle. So the first thing you're going to need when setting up is you grab your first bucket. And what we're going to do is this one's going to be our soap bucket. You can tell because the other one's got a dark ring around where all the dirt's been. So I'm going to use this one. It's the same one I've been using. This is very thick soap, so it's really like high quality stuff. Just a capful, and you can see how stringy it is. Look at the wind blows, and it blows the string everywhere. It's crazy. So I'm going to get 1 cap. This is a big bucket. This will hopefully last us the whole thing. Look how sticky it is. It actually sticks to the side of the bucket. That's crazy, isn't it? Look at that. So we're going to use 1 cap, and then, ooh, it smells good though. We are going to, I'm going to wipe this on the concrete here. Start filling the bucket up. And I'll just time lapse this because you guys really don't need to see this. So we got this nice and full. It's full up to, about here. I just want to make sure I have enough because it's going to last us the whole time. I'm going to move this out of frame. We're going to work on the second bucket. Second bucket is going to be easy. You just take your hose and fill it up with water. Just water. So as you can see, I didn't fill this one quite as much. I only filled it like down to here. That's because this is only going to be used to rinse this in between washes. So you might be asking yourself, well, where's the third bucket to rinse before you put the soap on so you don't contaminate that? And that's where you really don't need one. Some people do a 3-bucket system, some people do a 2. I do a 2-bucket system, and I just use the hose to rinse my car before I put the soap on it. There's no need to have an extra bucket to dip this in and then rub the car. I just spray it all down at light pressure, and then use the soap and rub it, and then clean this thing off and go back in the soap. So that's basically how we're going to do it. So now we can actually get to washing the vehicle itself. So we're going to start spraying it down. So as you can see here, I've got this thing on shower, and what that's going to do is it's going to give us a nice shower of water, kind of like, I don't want something too hard. Like, that's also okay. This is getting a little hard. The flat also works, just a flat sprayer. But the jet is way too hard. I feel like kicking back because of the pressure. So we're gonna go with this shower, like I said. What you want to do when you start is what a lot of people get wrong, and I know my head isn't in frame, but it's more important you see this. What a lot of people do wrong is they actually just kind of spray willy-nilly all over the car. But if you spray from top to bottom, all that dirt naturally flows down. Because if I spray the bottom and then go back and spray the top, the dirt that was on top is just going to flow back onto the bottom. So you always want to start at the top of the vehicle and work your way down, sweeping motions. And you can see on the ground all this dirt flowing off the car. So once you've gotten the vehicle as wet as it needs to be, and I would only recommend spraying the area you're about to clean. I mean, if you spray the whole thing, the rest of it will be dry before you get to it. So I always spray one area at a time. I've sprayed basically the middle section of the car. I usually work on the side and then the front. I just go around it in a circle. I'll start somewhere and go around it in a circle. Naturally, I want to go to the right because I'm left-handed and it just feels natural to scrub that way. So I just go around a circle to the right. But we're going to get into it. So it's just as simple as dipping your rag into the soap. It's a lot of bubbles. It's also cold water. And then you just start scrubbing. Doesn't really matter how you scrub. You don't need a whole lot of pressure. Some people do circular motions. I just scrub back and forth. Maybe do a little bit of circular motions. It's not like a fine art or anything. So just kind of do it how it feels natural. But another thing, like I said before, you always want to start at the top and work your way down. Because if I wipe down here first and then go up here, it's just going to run the dirt down to what you just cleaned anyway. You got to clean it again. So we're going to start from there. Ignore my car going off. It's a smart key system. Doesn't like water. They still haven't fixed that technology. My Challenger is the same way. Rest in peace. And then when you're done, you think you need more soap, what you do is you actually go over here to your rinse bucket of just the bucket of water, kind of dip it in there, wring it out a little bit, you know what I mean? Now we can go back to our soap, get plenty of it, and then just continue where we left off. Apply some light pressure. Nothing too hard. You don't want to scrub any remaining dirt into the paint. Just light stuff, you know what I mean? I'll flip it around and use the other side. This thing is very dirty. It hasn't been washed in about a week. So we'll definitely be able to see the difference when we're done. And I'll show you a close-up of how dirty this thing is in a minute. The front is terrible. But I'm in Texas, so that's to be expected. There's a lot of dirt, dust, and all that stuff. Again, rinse it in your rinse bucket. Wring it out so you get all that nasty dirt out. And look, I'll show you in just a second. I swear I washed it last week. I actually wash my cars very often. This is how dirty this rinse water is already. I'll show you. I'll just pan the camera down. There's no trickery or anything. Look at that. Look at that. It's like gray already. So now that we've scrubbed those doors, we will then go back a second time and rinse. And that should have gotten all the dirt off. But with how dirty it is, we might have to go over it again. And it looks better. The water is sheeting off a bit nice because I've got some nice stuff on it. I might go over it again because I see a few little spots here I just didn't want to scrub off. So it's very important you wring it out because otherwise you'll just be pulling that dirty water into the thing and putting it in your soap. So it's easy. It's nice if you wring it out most of the way. My knees are all wet. If you're not all wet by the time you're done, you didn't do it right. I'm constantly like just wet by the time I'm done. And that is, for the most part, the side of the car finished. At least, you know, with the two doors. And then I gotta do the back panel and the front panel, which I'll work on next. I'm gonna go towards the front of the car. So we will now move on to there. I'll probably time-lapse most of it. I mean, you know, you guys don't have to watch me wash the whole thing, so. Another question you guys might have is, where's your rim bucket? Because we do have to clean the rims. And the thing about that is I always do them last, so I don't have to have a separate bucket for it all. I'll just do it last, so that way none of the brake dust gets ground into the paint, or I don't have to have another bucket, because then that would be up to like 3 or 4 buckets. So I'll just do them all last. So I'll show you guys how to properly clean a rim when I get to that point, but for now I'm just going to keep going around the vehicle. Sometimes I will try and get suspension components, but this is a lower car than what I'm used to. I don't really have the access to them. If you want, you can kind of, I can't even fit the head of the thing in there, unless I go like this maybe, and turn it. Yeah, there we go, there we go. So you see I've got the head turned here, and what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna I would caution you against doing that. If you have something like, you know, I'm trying to think, like an AMG or something that has like active air suspension and all this stuff that's got a lot of electronics down there, I wouldn't spray it directly like that. But this is just a standard racing coilover suspension, so it's not going to have any type of damage or anything like that. The worst you would have is your ABS sensors and stuff, but those are all shielded inside the steering, what's it called? Not the spindle. The, I forget what they're called, but you know what I mean. Ugh, I need to get stronger. Now, since the front is a larger undertaking and there's a lot of complex edges, I just start from top to bottom, and then when I get down here, I just pay extra attention to get in like little areas that in here, you know, or underneath on these little lips, little areas that you might not think. Not all your cars are going to have this. Only your performance cars really will. Like, you know, with all their designs, the more complex they get, the harder they are to clean. I mean, you got in here, you got a little edge under here that you might not even see. You've got an edge in here. You've got underneath here, which you don't think about, as well as up in here there's a groove. So there's a lot of little things that you got to be paying attention to. It can get irritating. Like right here, you wouldn't think to really look for that, but that's like a surface area where the light connects down to here. It doesn't connect there, so there's actually an edge here, and it's actually pretty dirty. So we're gonna go from top to bottom. I'll just time lapse it, and we'll do that. So I'm gonna go ahead and rinse it again because the water's starting to dry out. I've got from the roof all the way down to the hood, and I've got these 2 sides done, the side here and then the side over there. So it appears there's a bug that landed on it since I washed it. Get off. There we go. I just haven't done this middle, like, Lexus looking portion yet, so I'm going to do that after I rinse it again because it's kind of dry. Alright, so I've noticed something. I'm going to show this to you guys if y'all aren't sprayed with water. You're not. You should be okay. And my hose is backwards. Let me, so I don't scratch my car, close the tripod a little bit. Is it still there? That might be a chip in the paint. It is, what is that? That's a swirl in the paint. Somebody stabbed my car. Look at that. This is crazy. Can you see anything? You might not be able to see it. But that's not particularly good. There we go. I don't know what that is. Oh, that's hard, whatever it is, and it makes the paint just swirl crazily. I'm gonna have to figure it out. So I'm gonna see what I can do about this thing. I'm gonna get it nice and wet, and then I'm going to, well, now you can't see it. Now I'm gonna try and scrub it, just lightly, see what happens. Well, it'll be easy to get from the other side. It's not coming out. What is it, I wonder? Oh, it came off with my fingernail. Remember, my fingernail is lubed up with water, so I'm not like scratching my fingernail on the paint of the car. Well, that looks better. I don't know what it is. It's still there. It could be a chip or something dark stuck in the paint, but It's better. It'll buff out for sure. I just am curious, that's all. I mean, it'll have to do. Oh wait, did I get all of it? I got a lot more of it. So when I use my fingernail, I'm very, very, very lightly scratching, and there's like a ton of water on the surface. Alright, well let's spray it off and see how it looks. I think that took care of it. Oh wait, no, is this another one? Oh, this is another one. So it's like hard little specks of things. I don't know if it's tar that stuck into the paint a little bit. But whatever it is, they're gone now. So one thing you'll notice as I do this is most of the car is in the shade, and that is because you don't want to spray water on the paint directly when it's hot or been in the sun, because your paint is thin and sensitive to temperature, and it can cause problems with your paint over time. So I'm actually going to turn the car around, or at least pull it forward. I might have room, so that way the back isn't in the sun and we can wash the back. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Now most of the back of the car is in the shade now. I'm not going to show you me cleaning that. It's the exact same thing. But I am going to show you how to clean rims. So we're going to get to that after I clean the back. So I'll just cut to that. There's no way you're going to be able to see my face. Okay. Another thing I like to do is I just like to get a little bit of soap and use this brush and make sure that this all looks nice and clean. They get pretty dirty from being down by the ground, and it's not a good look. Especially when you have nice ones like this. These things are so huge that they draw a lot of attention. You can get a lot of dirt in there. So I just kind of like to scrub there. Just a wire brush, you know, nothing crazy. But try to keep it away from the paint here though, because it can damage the paint. One thing I want to show you guys is just how dirty this water has gotten from washing the car. It's like motor oil, it's black, right? I know, funny business, I didn't put anything in there. Like, you can't almost see my fingers when they go beyond a few inches. So that's all the dirt that was on the car, just the car, not the rims. The rims is gonna make this almost completely black. Okay, so we're down here by this rim. This is a front rim. I'm showing you a front because they're often the most dirty because of the brake bias layout of the vehicle. More dust builds up on the front than the back because the front takes more braking than the back. It's a technical thing, don't worry about it. This car specifically gets really dusty on the rims with brake dust because of the aggressive compound that the pads run. I don't think they're quite full semi-metallic, which I will change later because I really don't mind brake dust, but I know it's a lot irritating for some people. So we're going to go ahead and see what we can do about this. So I'm going to rinse it first, like everything. So we're going to get our hose and rinse it off. I'm going to dip it in this soap and we're going to start scrubbing. I have no particular way I like to do it. I'll just kind of go around the outside here, you know, around here, because it's just the first thing you see. It's the easiest thing. The water is not sticking to it completely because the tire shine runs down on the rims and causes issues. And I haven't figured out how to not get it to touch the rims yet. But I'm just going to go over all the faces on the front that I can get to. I need a better brush, I know, but it's kind of the easy parts. And then once I've gone over all the easy parts, you know, scrub the middle out. I'm going to scrub these little channels here out. Everybody's rims are different. These happen to be a little complex, and not as complex as the ones on my Honda, but now what I'm going to do is go in here and just start scrubbing everything. Everything. And that's pretty much how you do it. And then once you're done with that, you are going to so I will spray myself, rinse it off. And you will see the brown water flowing off. Well, you won't because it's not in frame, but you'll see all that brake dust start to come off. And what I'm also going to do is scrub my valve stem caps because they weren't particularly cheap. They're very nice, and I would like to keep them that way. Like that. And then should be going pretty good. Oh, I almost forgot. And then I'll, you know, come in with this brush here and just scrub the sidewall of the tire. It's curved. It's designed to be a tire brush. And then you just kind of scrub the sidewall. You should probably do it first so you don't grind dirt back onto the rim surface. Doesn't have to be anything crazy, just a little bit like that. So you can see, brush is kind of dirty because we're tires after all. But I like to clean everything, so. And then there we go. And then you can just hose the tire, and you actually see a little bit of dirt coming out. And then that's 1 out of 3 finished. So another brief thing I want to talk about, just real quick, and it's still a little hot, so I'm trying to be careful not to touch things, is like detailing the engine compartment and stuff like that. Not a whole lot of it needs to be done. You can see there's some dirt on my fingers here, and you can see when I leave hand streaks, so you want to, you know, maybe that. This isn't real dirty. The tops of these strut towers are a little dirty, and stuff like that. For the most part, it's all going to be pretty clean because it's a new car. But if your car has dirt, feel free to grab a dedicated, it's very important, dedicated brush. And if you're not going to do it last, if you're going to do it before everything, get a dedicated bucket of water. And you can brush these hoses off that get dirty, you know, because these are a little dirty. This intake manifold here is a little dirty. It's a little hot too. So there's different things you can do to clean up in here. But just occasional maintenance would be a good idea. And in the next video, we're going to go over how to dry your car after washing it, plus how to do some of this engine bay detailing and stuff like that. The only reason I don't go into it today is because it's getting late, and also it's because my battery and my camera is almost dead, and I don't have another one. So in the next video, you will go over it. So I'm going to leave all this until that video, let a little bit more dirt build up in here, and then we will go over how you clean that. Another thing that you ought to do when cleaning your vehicle is open the hood, like when you're washing it, and you're washing the outside, because what you will see here, I don't know how well you can see it, but on the tops of this light here, you see we've got some dirt that has been collected. I can wipe it off. I'm being very gentle when I'm doing that because I don't want to scratch the plastic. But when the hood is shut, you see the hood covers that part and you can't get to it, okay? So what you want to do, pop the hood and look for any areas that you can't get to when everything is shut. Same with the inside door frames, and I'm going to do that in the next video as well. I'll show you how to clean that stuff up. This is just an area that's not painted, okay? In here is a little dirty, but at least get like the tops of your lights and certain things that you just can't get to when the hood is shut. Just like the inside edges of this body panel here coming down because the hood kind of hides them. All right, everyone, so hopefully that helped you kind of figure out what to do to kind of clean your car. A couple closing thoughts. So the reason that we do the 2-bucket method, as I'm sure you've kind of seen, it's surprising how much dirt is on your car. And when you use 1 bucket, like most people do, like I used to do, what you're doing is you're actually ending up putting that, or about 50% of it, because some of it does come off in the water, in your paint. And as you can guess, that's not very good for your paint. I mean, look at this stuff. There's like actual big pieces of dirt in here. It's very gritty, nasty, and it's just it's almost black, right? And then when you use one bucket, you're actually taking this, which is supposed to clean your car, dipping it into the equivalent of that with some soap in it, and then putting it on your car. Okay, like look at this. I was gonna end the video, but like I just dumped this bucket out. Look at all that, bro, and that's like solid dirt. I dumped it out forcefully too, and so a lot of it came out, but there's still a lot of stuff stuck to the wall that's like solid, and that's gonna be like all over your paint, like if you don't use a separate bucket. So, but that's one of the main reasons that we use the 2-bucket method, because if you don't, in general what happens is, like I said, that gets rubbed into your paint and it scratches and swirls your paint. That's why a lot of people have swirl marks in their paint, is because all those little microscopic dirt particles get ground into their paint, and then it just ends up causing damage to the paint. You can have to wax the car more often and try and buff it all out and stuff like that. This car has been babied for its entire life to this point. I mean, I'm the original owner. It's got 3,000 miles on it. So I do my best to take care of my vehicles, because if you take care of your vehicles, they take care of you, whether that be cosmetically, mechanically, stuff like that. And we'll probably go over oil changes and brake jobs and stuff like that in a later time. But for now, one of the key things you can do to keep your vehicle looking nice is to clean it regularly. This was after 1 week. You see all that dirt. Most people I know don't wash their cars but once every like 2 months. So granted, it's been raining here in Texas the past 3 or 4 days, so that's probably why it was really dirty. It wouldn't have been quite as bad without all the rain, because I was driving in the rain quite a bit. But keep your car clean and your paint will stay nice for a long time. That's something that I preach to people a lot. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to drop them in the comment section down below. My hands are very dry and dirty from washing my car. And I will do my best to answer them. I try to look at every single comment that comes to this channel. And if you want more content about the vehicle or about how to take care of your vehicle, or just content in general, I do a lot of different things. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell. Get notified when I upload, because I do try my best to put out videos when I come up with an idea. So until the next video, I will see you, special friends, later. And you will need 2 buckets. And that's where most people go wrong. Most people use 1, but you really want 2. There's a kid on an electric bike there, like one of those ones that goes 30 miles an hour, and he just rode down the sidewalk and didn't see there was a giant bump. But anyhow, that's just some of the things that you will